Hi everybody, welcome to lesson 2 for Year 3's Maths. Today we're going to be looking at seconds, minutes and hours. And by the end of this lesson, you're going to be able to know how many seconds there are in a minute, how many minutes there are in an hour, and how many hours there are in a day. So, seconds in a minute. There are 60 seconds in 1 minute. There are also 60 minutes in an hour. So 60 is an important number to remember when we're dealing with time. But there are not 60 hours in a day. There are 24 hours in a day. Okay, so 6 seconds in a minute and 60 minutes in an hour, but 24 hours in a day. So if we know that, can we work out how many seconds there are in 2 minutes? Well, if 1 minute is 60 seconds, then 2 minutes has to be double it. Now, you may not know double 60, but you should know double 6. Well, double 6 is 12, so double 60 is going to be 10 times bigger. It's going to give us 120. So there are 120 seconds in 2 minutes, or 2 minutes is the same as 120 seconds. What about hours in a day? 48 hours is the same as how many days? Well, if I know that there are 24 hours in one day, but I'm not looking at 24, I'm looking at 48. And I don't know my 24 times table, but I should be able to see that 48 is double 24. So if 24 hours is one day, I'm going to double it. So 48 hours is the same as 2 days. And finally, 120 minutes is the same as how many hours? Well, I know that 60 minutes is 1 hour. Well, I should be able to recognise that double 60 is 120. So if 60 minutes is 1 hour, 120 minutes is going to be the same as 2 hours. Okay, here I've got 4 different important pieces of vocabulary that you're going to come across when you're dealing with time. Afternoon, morning, noon and midnight. And what I'd like you to do is to pause the video and just see if you can put them in order. So from the earliest to the latest. Okay, so if we're thinking about putting them in order, if we start from when you wake up in the morning, first of all. So when you wake up in the morning, it's going to be morning. And then you know that later on, you have afternoon. Well, in between morning and afternoon, there is what we call noon. Now, noon is the time that we call 12 o'clock in the afternoon or lunchtime, 12 p.m. So we've got morning, noon and afternoon. And the trick is that afternoon is after noon. So morning, noon, so 12 o'clock and then the afternoon. And then midnight comes after that. Midnight is 12 a.m. So the time that you might think of as being in the middle of the night. So morning and afternoon both refer to several hours. Whereas noon and midnight both talk about a particular 12 o'clock. So 12 o'clock in daylight hours is noon, and 12 o'clock in the night is midnight. You'll also come across the terms AM and PM. And some people refer to AM as being the morning and PM is the afternoon and the evening, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. And I'm going to show you this, because this is quite an easy way for you to be able to see the different times. So here we've got a circle with the different times on it. So we're starting from midnight, so 12 a.m. And that is the start of every day. Now you might think of the day as only when you wake up, but actually there's been several hours in the day before you even wake up. So 12 a.m. is the start of the day. We've got 1 a.m, 2 a.m, 3 a.m, 4 a.m, 5 a.m, 6 a.m, where you might be starting to think about waking up, 7 a.m, 8 a.m, 9 a.m, 10 a.m, 11 a.m, and then 12. But you'll see that 12 jumps to p.m. So the a.m. times are the times from midnight, so 12 a.m, all the way to noon. So they are the a.m. times. And then the p.m. times, we can see we've got 1 p.m, 2 p.m, 3 p.m, 4 p.m, 5 p.m, 6 p.m, 7 p.m, 8 p.m, 9 p.m, 10 p.m, 11 p.m, and then we're back to midnight, which is 12 a.m. So the times from midnight to noon are the a.m. times, and the times from noon to midnight are PM times. And people often get confused with 12 a.m. and 12 p.m. And people might think that because midnight is nighttime, that it should be PM, and it's not. So 12 a.m. is the start of the day, so midnight, and 12 p.m. is that lunchtime time. So I'm going to ask you a second to pause the video. We're going to see how well you understand AM and PM. So I've got here 7 AM and PM, 8 AM and PM, and 4 AM and PM. And I'd like you to pause the video and have a think of what activities might you be doing at 7 AM and 7 PM, so you can see the difference. What activities might you be doing at 8 AM and 8 PM, and 4 AM and 4 PM? Okay, let's see what you came up with and what I came up with. Now, obviously, your things might be completely different to mine, and that's absolutely fine. So 7 AM, I might be eating my breakfast because it's in the morning. At 7 PM, I might be starting to think about getting ready to go to bed and brushing my teeth. So you can see that actually, well, AM and PM. Now, you wouldn't eat your breakfast at 7 PM. 8 AM, you might be on your way to school. 8 PM, you might be ready for bed. 4 AM, you will hopefully be asleep because it's the middle of the night. And 4 PM, you might be out playing with your friends. So you can see that AM and PM are quite important because the things that you do at the AM times, you're not going to do at the PM times. So if we come back to those 3 questions, hopefully you can now answer them. So how many seconds are there in a minute? There are 60. How many minutes are there in an hour? There are also 60. And how many hours there are in a day? There are 24. So the activity that you're going to do today has got lots of different questions to do with hours and minutes and seconds. But there's also lots of activities about AM and PM. So make sure that you remember that we've got midnight, which is 12 AM, and that lunchtime noon is 12 PM.